In today's video, I want to take you guys through how you can get Days Gone super cheap right now. It's already discounted as a part of PlayStation's Days of Play event. However, right now through Newegg, you can get it even cheaper than that. And given that this game released, just a month and a half ago? To get it 50% off is quite a sizable discount, so I'll be taking a look at that. Outside of that, there are a couple of other interesting promotions and deals going on right now, so I do want to highlight that. And coming out of E3 now is the post-E3 hangover, and we have some information to look at. Final Fantasy VII Remake producer and Yoshinori Kitase shares a post-E3 2019 message talking about the vision of the game, the development, and much more. First up, I know that Days Gone is a game that some of you guys are waiting on picking up. It's really not that PlayStation 4 exclusive on the caliber of, say, a Spider-Man or a God of War, where all of you guys picked it up on day one. I know a lot of you guys did, and you might have had a great time with it, but I know at the same time a lot of you guys are waiting for a deeper discount. Well, it's down to $40 as a part of PlayStation's Days of Play event. However, Newegg has got it considerably cheaper than that. If you use the promo code EMCTBUA43 at checkout, you will get a copy of Days Gone added to your cart first, of course, and it'll be down to just $30, which is a pretty sizable discount given that this game just released back at the end of April. I know that Days Gone, again, wasn't received incredibly well, but it really seemed like a case of a lot of the critics weren't all too high on Days Gone. However, the actual players and the community, we really dug Days Gone. Again, I'm not saying that it's the best PlayStation 4 exclusive ever. I'm not even saying that it's in the top 5, maybe not even in the top 10, but the top 10's filled with incredible games, so that's not really an indictment on the quality of Days Gone. What I can say about the game is it is a very fun open world game that does have its issues. However, Sony Bend Studios have stayed committed to the game and continued to update it, and the game has gotten better and better. This is one game where I think it was actually a little bit too lengthy. I think if it was a couple hours shorter, it would have done the game a lot of good. Whatever the case may be, now that it's down to $30, I think it's a great time to check out the game. If you were put off a little bit by maybe the reviews, maybe by what some people were saying, again, people are comparing this game to the best PlayStation 4 exclusives. 2018 was just such an insane year with Spider-Man and God of War being released in like a 6-month period that, yeah, comparatively speaking to those games, Days Gone isn't quite as good. But given that it's a super recent release and given that it's already down to $30, if you want a quality open world adventure, you're gonna find that here. And I think Sony Bend Studio have set the foundation for them to do another project in the future. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Days Gone 2, but remember, prior to the release of Days Gone, Sony Bend hadn't done a marquee AAA title in a very long time. They did Uncharted Golden Abyss, but that was on the PlayStation Vita, and prior to that, they were working on a lot of portable titles, a lot of lower budget titles. So Days Gone being their first foray back into creating a AAA game on the PlayStation 4 on a brand new platform for them, I think it turned out rather well, and I think for $30, you should definitely give it a look. Alright, moving on from that, we are coming up on the release of Final Fantasy XIV's next major expansion in Shadowbringers, and if you purchase any $19.99 and up game on Amazon from now until July 1st, you will get a free Black Fat Chocobo Mount DLC, and again, it will be free. You just get it as an add-on if you do pick up a game that's at the price of $19.99 or more. A free mount in Final Fantasy XIV, and Final Fantasy XIV has been one of the most compelling MMORPGs in recent memory. I know some of you guys get a little bit heated when I do talk super highly about Final Fantasy XIV, and I rank it among the best MMOs currently, but I don't think that's a hyperbolic statement at all. Yes, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, and I like a lot of the thematic choices and presentations, but if you assess Final Fantasy XIV as just a MMO and look at all the content that it offers, look at where it came from, and look at where it's going, it is an incredibly compelling experience with a lot of content, a lot of options, a lot of replayability. Yes, it does have a monthly fee, which is a little bit of a bummer. I would like MMOs to not have monthly fees, but it is what it is, and given the content that you're getting, I do think the monthly fee is worth it. But nonetheless, did want to mention how you could get that free Black Fat Chocobo mount. Also, over on Best Buy right now, Dragon Quest XI is down to $29.99. Wanted to give that a shout as it's an awesome Japanese RPG. Kind of fell down to this $30 price point and is kind of sticking at it. I saw some price errors before where this game was down to $20. Doesn't really regularly go down to that price. If you want a high-quality traditional JRPG, $30 for DQ11 is quite good. That turn-based combat system still works quite well today. I know some of you guys are going to find it a little bit dated, but I found for Dragon Quest, unlike Final Fantasy, it really does try to stick to its roots, and that's perfect. I think Square Enix should have two distinct franchises. Final Fantasy is an ever-evolving experience, and Dragon Quest, while it does differ from game to game, those core fundamental roots stay intact, and I think that's good for this one. And you have a great cast of characters, a lot of content. You're talking 60 hours of gameplay, even more than that. If you want to do everything, it is a more linear focused experience, but what you're getting out of DQ11 is quite good, and now that it's down to $30, again, highly would recommend you guys to pick that up if you want a quality Japanese RPG. And also from Best Buy, they've got a Western Digital Easy Store 2TB external portable hard drive. This can plug right into your PlayStation 4 and you will have 2TB of additional hard drive space. I know that these game file sizes are getting absolutely huge. Look at games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Fallout 76, and all of these major titles upcoming. Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, is coming on 2 Blu-ray discs, and that makes me think that it's going to be an absolutely massive game. You know, having games that are north of 70, 80 gigabytes is a pretty regular thing these days. And if you're just thinking, 1 terabyte, or God forbid, you have a launch PlayStation 4 and you're still trucking along with 500 gigabytes, man, you need to do yourself a service and pick up a 2TB external hard drive, or even a 3TB if you guys can get that, because that'll just help your overall quality of life experience, especially if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber and you're getting all these free games. Just this month, we got Borderlands Handsome Collection. That's a hefty download as well. You'll want to have some extra storage space, and 2 terabytes for $60, yeah, that is really good. Alright, moving on from all of the deals, Final Fantasy VII Remake was one of the major titles at E3, and the producer of the game, Yoshinori Kitase, shared a post-E3 2019 message, and I do want to take a look at some of the stuff he said. Don't want to take a look at everything because it was a long post. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you want to read for it yourself, but I wanted to go over some of the highlights. Quote, while the development team finished the first game in the project, we are continuing to plan and outline the overall volume of the content for the second. Due to the work already done on the first game, we anticipate development of the second game to be more efficient. That's a noteworthy statement, as a lot of people are questioning how quickly we're going to see game after game. Obviously, we're going to see part 1 March 3rd of 2020, and I'm hoping after that, every game can come out bi-yearly. They did all of the Final Fantasy 13 games 2 years apart from one another, and there were substantial changes made with each game, so if they could get all that done in 2 years, yes, the games weren't that great. I'm not here to get into that debate right now, but 2 years between games, I think that's something that would at least be feasible, and hopefully that is the case. They also noted, we have our own internal schedule and plan, but for now, we'd like to focus our information on the first game in the project. The key creative values of the core Final Fantasy series are innovation, pushing boundaries, and surprising players. This project shares these same values, and the development team view it as the next mainline Final Fantasy release. So if you're expecting a Final Fantasy 16 announcement anytime soon, this is the next mainline Final Fantasy game. Yes, it's titled Final Fantasy VII. Yes, it's of a game that's already been released, but this is an ambitious ground-up remake, and this is seen as a mainline Final Fantasy release. So see it as such, and understand where Square Enix is going with a lot of their development allocation. If you think that just a small team or whatever the case may be is working on this game and a bigger team is working on FF16, I think you'll be very, very disappointed at that notion. I do think they're laying the early groundwork for Final Fantasy 16, but that is a long, long ways away. Who knows if we're even going to see that game on the PlayStation 5. That could very well be like a PlayStation 6 game. I don't want to look too ahead in that. For the original core members of the development team, simply recreating the original game with improved graphics wasn't enough to get us invested and excited about remaking 7. To return, we want to go beyond the original, telling a deeper story and providing a modern gaming experience. We really want to go above and beyond of what is expected of a remake. This is a big notion because I think if you're just expecting a remake of the fundamental story of Final Fantasy VII, you might be surprised with what you get out of the game. The game of part 1 is coming on 2 Blu-ray discs. That means it's absolutely massive in terms of content. However, we already know that it's only going to contain the events of what happens in Midgar. If you remember playing through Final Fantasy VII, it's not like that's an enormous amount of content. However, I feel like that they're going to flesh out a lot of the elements of the world, maybe add some side elements, a lot of extra content, fleshing out the characters, whatever the case may be. I want them to stick to the roots of the story. However, if you want to tell more stories about the character, if you want to give us a bigger insight into the specific characters in the world, maybe some side characters, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of lore in the world of Final Fantasy VII. That's why there were all of these spin-offs, all of these extra games, and if you want to tell some new stories, I would be all over that as well. Just leave the fundamental true story of FF7 intact, but if you do want to add some things that expand the world, that by all means is fun, and I do think that they're going to do that. Many of our new team members were young fans who played the original 7 when it was first released. It's very exciting and exhilarating to work with this talented team on such an ambitious project. The first game in the project takes place in the electric city of Midgar. We chose to focus on Midgar as it best represents the world of 7 as a location more than any other. Midgar is full of imagination with myriad influences and surprise around every corner. While many people may think that Midgar is very dark at first glance, we have a design aesthetic where the city has strong elements of color and variety. The lighting and coloring we are using throughout Midgar accentuate what is unique about Final Fantasy VII's world. We decided not to use a photorealistic approach with the design, but instead something more stylized, honoring the artistic designs and choices of the original. There's a a lot more information in his statement, and I'll leave that in the description box down below. Maybe I'll do a breakdown of his statement and every little bit of information that we've gotten out of the FF7 remake, what I expect out of the game, because there's a lot to talk about now that we know that this game is probably going to be pretty expensive by the end of it, and we're getting it piecemeal to us part by part. However, given the fact that the first part is going to be on 2 Blu-ray discs, I'm hoping that we get a sizable amount of content with each release, and I do think they're aiming for that. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Days Gone, get it super cheap on Newegg right now, $30 for that. Get a Final Fantasy XIV mount if you pick up a game north of $19.99 over on Amazon. DQ11 is down to $30, Western Digital 2TB external down to $60 on Best Buy, and a lot of information coming out on the FF7 remake. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.